Hey there, what's up? In this video, we're going to be going over the best camera tips and settings for your Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max. Let's go. Welcome back to the video. My name is Sergio, and in this channel, I make life-saving tech videos. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell while you're down there. All right, so I'm going to be giving you 20 camera tips and settings that you can take advantage of to get the most out of the camera features on your new iPhone. All right, let's jump right into it with tip number 1. So tip number 1 is you want to make sure that you have the camera control button set up properly so that when you press on the camera control button, it will automatically open up your camera. Okay, that way you don't have to go around searching for your camera app. Your screen can even be turned off like this, and if you press your camera button, it will open up the camera from there for quick access. So how we can set this up is we're going to go to settings. Here in settings, we're going to scroll down to camera. And then here in camera, it's going to be the first option up here, camera control. Go ahead and select it. And you want to make sure that camera is selected here where it says launch camera. That way, when you press that camera control button here, the camera is what will open up. Also, you may want to make sure that you have single click selected so you don't have to click the button more than once. By just clicking it once, it will activate the camera. Another thing you may want to do is you may want to disable this require screen to be on. So like I said, even if the screen, so if you disable it, even if the screen is dark like this and you press the camera control button just once, it will take you straight to the camera. Because if not, you will have to press it twice. Because the first time will be to light up the screen like this, and then the second time will be when it will open the camera. But in order for it to work like that, you will need to disable the require screen on toggle. Okay, another thing you may want to take advantage of here is camera adjustments. So let's go ahead and enable this. And here we're going to select customize. Here we're going to want to make sure that you have swipe enabled and light press. And make sure that under controls here, you have all of these things selected. Okay. What this will do is that when you are on your camera, you can also use the camera control button for different functions, like zooming in. If you swipe from side to side, you can zoom out, or also you can use it to change from the rear camera to the front selfie camera, as you can see. And once you're done, you can go ahead and swipe again, and it will change back to the rear camera. So make sure to take advantage of the camera control customizable settings. Another thing you may want to enable is lock focus and exposure. Okay, and what this will do is that if something is moving around a lot and you want it to focus, instead of having to click on the screen for it to focus, you can also just tap and hold on the camera control button without pressing it down. Just place your finger on there and it will automatically focus in on the subject. All right, so moving on to tip number 2. And tip number 2 is to customize your photographic styles. So you also take advantage of this in settings, and in settings by going to camera once again. So here in the camera settings, the second option is going to be photographic styles. So here we can go ahead and select which photographic style we prefer so that every time we take pictures, it's going to be taken in this photographic style. Okay, let's say I like bright. So here we're going to select use bright. And then now every time we take pictures, it's going to always be saved in that bright photographic style. So moving on to tip number 3. And tip number 3 is to set up your video camera settings. So once again, in your camera settings, here we're going to go to where it says record video. And here we're going to select 4K at 60 frames per second. Okay, the new iPhone 17 Pro Max comes with even 4K at 120 frames per second. This is the highest resolution. Okay, so you may want to use this for certain videos. I would suggest certain shorter videos because this will take a lot more space in your storage. And also, as you can see here, 4K at 60 frames per second also records smoother videos. So my suggestion is to keep it at 4K at 60 frames per second. And then, if you can manually select 120 frames per second for special videos that you may need. Okay, so now every time you open up your camera, it will be always at 4K 60 frames per second. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to get the highest quality for your slow motion videos. So select record slow-mo, and here we can select 4K at 120 frames per second. So now with the new 17 Pro, we can record slow-mo at 4K quality, which before we were limited to 1080p. And for the next tip is we want to adjust our record cinematic quality. So let's go ahead and select it. And here we want to select 4K at 30 frames per second so that we can get the highest quality on cinematic videos as well. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is record sound. We want to make sure that we're recording videos at the best, with the best sound possible. So we're going to want to make sure that spatial sound is enabled because that is the highest quality sound for most videos. And also make sure that wind noise reduction is enabled so that, you know, if there's wind or noises or background noises, it will help to eliminate those noises. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to customize your formats. So here in camera settings, select formats, and we're going to want to make sure that high efficiency is selected. Also, we're going to go over to photo mode and make sure that 24 megapixels is selected. Okay, and for the next tip, we're going to want to make sure that we enable Pro RAW and resolution control. Okay, so let's go ahead and enable that. And this is for taking the highest quality pictures with your iPhone. Okay, this will allow for pictures to be taken with up to 48 megapixels. Also here we have Apple ProRes. Now this is a feature that I wouldn't recommend you enabling it because this will completely take over the storage of your iPhone, because as you can see here, it says a minute video with Apple ProRes will take up 1.7 gigabytes and even 6 gigabytes if you're recording 30 frames per second at 4K. So this is something I do not recommend unless you are a professional videographer and you're going to be transferring the videos in and out of your phone and deleting them to make storage. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to preserve your camera settings. So here in preserve settings, you may want to enable some of these preserve settings. So what this will do is, for example, camera mode, every time we open up the camera, if the last time you were using the camera, the video camera was the one open, that's the one that will open. So also if I change now to photo, to the picture camera, and I exit out of here, next time we open up the camera, it will once again be in the photo camera, because we have preserved the setting to open up where we were previously using it. Okay, you may want to also enable photographic style, creative controls, depth control. What I like to leave preserved is the portrait zoom, Pro RAW resolution control, and live photo. Okay, so that every time I open up the camera, if I had live photo on, it's going to always be on live photo. Or if I turn it off, every time I open up the camera, it will turn it off. So moving on to the next tip, and this is to enable volume up for bursts. So what this will do is that you'll be able to press and hold volume up, and it will take multiple pictures, as you can see. So this is good if you're taking pictures of maybe a group, and you know, there's a lot of movement going on. So you can just press the volume button. It'll take a bunch of shots, and then you can just pick and choose the shot that's most desired. Okay. Also, if you know you're taking pictures of something that you know there's a lot of movement, you know, you may want to capture all of the movement as well. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to enable scan QR codes. And what this will do is your camera will always be ready to scan QR codes. So if you put a QR code in front of it, it's going to always be ready to automatically scan that QR code, as you can see, and then it'll give you a link and it will take you directly to that link. All right, so moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to enable show detected text. Okay, and what this will do is that also when you have your camera open, if you put like a page in front of it or something with text, it's going to automatically read all of the text, as you can see there. And yeah, it's very useful if you need to like scan documents and stuff, because it will automatically read all of the text, and you will get this icon right here, and it will scan the document. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is going to be to mirror the front camera. Okay, so when you're taking selfie pictures, let's say I'm gonna take the picture like this. As you can see, my hand is on the right-hand side here. Okay, if we open up the picture, on the picture, my hand will now be on the left-hand side. So it is not mirroring the selfie camera. So if we go to settings and we enable mirror front camera, now when we take selfie pictures, and now my hand once again is on the right-hand side, and we open up the picture, you'll see it has mirrored the shot. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to customize indicators. So let's select indicators. Okay, so here we may want to enable flash, live photo. For video, we can enable dual capture and action mode. So that what this will do is that when you're in your camera, now you will have the indicators up here so that from the camera app here, you can customize the flash if you want it on, off, or auto, or live photos. And also if you're in video, you will be able to customize the settings as well. So moving on to the next tip, and the next tip is to set up the settings for the Fusion camera. So select Fusion camera. You're gonna wanna make sure that both 28 millimeters and 35 millimeters is enabled. And also over in default lens, you're gonna wanna make sure that default to 24 millimeters 1x is selected. So that way, every time you open up your camera, the zoom will be at 1x and not at the different settings here, 1.2 or 1.5, which would be zoomed in. So next up, we're gonna wanna make sure that portraits in photo mode is enabled. Okay, that way when we're taking pictures, it will automatically capture depth information if a person, dog, or cat is prominent in the frame in photo mode. Okay, so that you can apply portrait effects later. So moving on to the next tip, and this is to enable prioritize faster shooting. And this is so that the camera sensor can intelligently adapt image quality when rapidly pressing the shutter button. Next up, we have to enable lens correction. And this is so that the phone will automatically correct lens distortion on the front and ultra-wide cameras. So next up, you're gonna wanna make sure that you also enable lens cleaning hints. What this will do is that it will display suggestions when the camera lens should be cleaned to improve image quality. And the next tip is to customize this option right here, which is save pic captures to photo library. You may want to disable this. That way, if you're in messages and you take pictures from messages here, they're not going to automatically be saved to your photo library, because you may not want that. You may want, when you're taking pictures from messages, you may just want to send a picture and not necessarily save it to your photo library and take up space in your phone. So if you enable this, what it will do is that it will always save photos taken from messages app to your library. So my suggestion is I keep this disabled. All right, everyone, so there you go. Those are 20 tips and settings to get the most out of your camera on your Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max. So go ahead and destroy that like button if you enjoyed the video, and comment down below and let me know if you did. And also, if you want to check out our 45-watt super fast chargers, which charge your phone 3 times as fast as regular chargers, check out the links down below in the description. So that's all for this video. I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace.